Hello and welcome to the future today, where we bash the opportunity of tomorrow up against the reality of today. Today's topic: war. Who saw this coming? What's the impact going to be on cryptocurrencies? What does it mean for cryptocurrencies? Well, the initial reaction, quite frankly, equities are going to fall. Markets hate uncertainty. That's just the way it is. Oil so far has been going down. Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies so far largely flat. Dollar up slightly. Seems like everything that happens makes the dollar go up. The VIX, which for those of you unfamiliar, is the tempestuousness of the market, the volatility of the market. It's up, as you might expect. We've had record high VIX ratings lately, and this is just going to make it worse. We've got a whole new issue on the side of what's going on, and bonds up again. Everything we do seems to send bond yields higher. So it's a difficult environment to orchestrate for the Federal Reserve. Difficult environment, especially if you need to sell a lot of bonds to fund all the excess spending that you're doing. So the whole thing is a head scratcher. I'm going to be totally honest with you. It's a head scratcher, but there are a few certain things that we can kind of look into the past and see into the future. What does that mean over the long term? Well, U.S. pro-Israel anti-terrorism is not new. President Biden came out today, was pretty direct about standing with the people of Israel. This is likely to have some sedative effect on U.S.-Israeli relations. Might become a campaign. Everything this time of year is a campaign position. So we're going to see what happens here with Netanyahu and Biden, who were previously kind of at odds ends. They seem to be buddies right now. All of a sudden, oil in Arabia, going to be tumultuous. It's going to be tumultuous. It's already been tumultuous with Saudi Arabia striking oil deals with Russia. This, even though oil has been falling, it's probably points to higher oil over the long term. Equities hate uncertainty. Sorry for 01k. Probably gonna have to take a little vacation from upside for a little while. Bonds, who knows? I mean, for as much impact as this has on bonds, don't forget that Japan just quit buying bonds or started selling bonds. So now we've got, because of incredible spending, which has been authorized by our legislatures, we now have to sell an awful lot of bonds, and we have way fewer buyers. What does that mean? Bottom line, some more divided world, and when the world divides, we tend to look for pockets of certainty. We tend to look for pockets of return on investment, and change creates change. There are opportunities in this. If you're long on crypto, if you're focused on investing, if you don't have a horse in the race, there are opportunities here. If you take an objective long-term view, there are a lot of opportunities here. I don't mean to belittle the terrible things that have happened to the Israeli people that have been hurt in this. I am almost certain that the attacks on Palestinians will be just as bad, if not maybe worse. It's just the way the world turns, and there will be changes. So I don't mean to be uncaring, but if you're sitting on the other side of the world and you're worried about what's happening with your money, as you should be at this point in time, then there are changes. If you can just take the political goggles off and look at this for what it is, and it is shocking. I didn't see this coming. I don't think anybody saw this coming. One of the first term impacts is that we can't just look at ourselves in a vacuum anymore. Earnings season, schmerling season. I mean, does it matter that much what earnings are doing when the world is, when we have a potential dumpster fire in the Middle East. Interest rates, well, that was hard to predict before. Now it's even harder to predict. So be prepared for interest rates to go up, interest rates to go down. It's really, you need a safe haven from all of this volatility. So far, crypto has been stable. It probably will continue to be stable in times of uncertainty about nations' prospects, about where to put your money. Crypto, especially Bitcoin, tends to gain investment. So over the short term, I think it's it's a positive impact on crypto investments. Ultimately, war always means more government spending. More government spending means that we spend more, thus there's more money in circulation, thus inflation. And we've got a lot of it already on the docket. And so Ukraine, who? We've got a powder keg in the Middle East. Are we focused on Ukraine? I don't know. I mean, funding's already threatened for Ukraine. Will we take that money and divert it to the Middle East? I don't know. But for it really puts the Ukraine situation in perspective, because I don't think anybody wants the powder keg of the Middle East to go off. We're going to have a Middle East alliance reshuffling. We've already had this to a great extent. Like I said, the BRICS and Saudi Arabia have really kind of put it to the U.S., kind of forged an alliance with Russia. And this is going to be really interesting to watch. This means turbulent oil, and turbulent oil means turbulent energy. So your energy stocks, your energy ETFs, I know there's going to be change. I would say change the upside. Oil will likely be even harder for Americans to get, and even if we had that big deal with Exxon and the shale oil company. So in the end, I think international crypto wins here. I'm thinking about Ripple. I'm thinking about Bitcoin. I'm thinking about Ethereum. I think long term, people are going to seek out the solace of something that is not tied to any kind of government or any kind of banking system. As I mentioned, changes opportunity. This is, as much as it might seem strange and out of nowhere, this is kind of more of the same. It's kind of the U.S. and Israel versus Arabia. So probably more of the same, probably the same hegemony. If you've watched this movie over and over again, you're going to see that Israel will have disproportionate retaliation, not passing judgment, just saying historically, that's what they do. When something comes out of nowhere, especially with Netanyahu, he doesn't hold back. He makes sure that the other side feels it more than he feels it. And so it's ultimately retaliatory. It's ultimately an escalation. And so you probably see more of this. And when Netanyahu goes off on his enemies tend to consolidate and then strike back harder in a more unexpected way. It's just speaking what's happened. The winner here, strangely, is Russia and China, who have had a pretty rough go of it over the last few months. And so if their oil goes up, and if China gets time to put their economy a little bit, put their economy back together, it buys them time to act together. And that really quickly is the impact on crypto. Ultimately, fairly long on crypto as a result of this war, but we'll have to play it out and see where it goes. I would encourage you, if you're invested in this market, to think about change as opportunity, because that's what most of the time it is. My hearts go out to everybody killed on both sides of this, every family broken by either side of this, and I hope it comes to a swift and peaceful conclusion. But I do have to look at history and say, what has happened before, and if you're investing, you probably need to take a look at protecting yourself. And as I said, my hearts are with you, to everybody in Israel and Palestine impacted by this. But also be careful out there. That's the future as I can see it today.